How's it, everybody? On the show today, I've got a two-part series with the Schaper brothers. Part 1 is with professional boxer and boxing coach Tyrone Schaper. And in this episode, Tyrone takes us through the world of boxing globally as well as locally. We discuss things like crossover from MMA into boxing and the value of the exhibition fights and the value it's bringing to the boxing industry, which is again on the rise. It had a bit of a dip, but now boxing is back and it's big and it's here to stay. And in this episode as well, we dig deep into boxing being one of the most misunderstood sports in the world, and with particular reference and personal reference to Tyrone, who has used boxing to harness his emotions and to harness and to discipline his mind. And I think boxing can be used as an incredibly powerful tool to do that. If you enjoy combat sports, or if you're looking to just introduce yourself to a new industry and a new sport, you're going to absolutely love listening to this one. Here's part 1 with Tyrone Schaper. Like, share, subscribe, and enjoy. Tyrone Schaper, thank you very much for being on the Expect Performance podcast. Lovely to have you, bro.
Thank you for having me, Clint. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure, man. So, how are you today? What's your news?
Can't complain. We're still going. Busy with the day, getting our fighters ready for their fights this weekend.
Okay.
So, busy training hard, been relaxing a bit. Life's still going,
Nice.
Big change for me.
Nice. So, Ty, you're a boxer.
Yes.
Professional boxer.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, how did that start? Take me back to the beginning.
Okay, so let me tell you a bit. So I didn't start boxing in the beginning. I've been in a variety of sports.
Okay.
So going back to my primary school days, high school days, I spent a lot of time, cricket. I've been there, played my cricket, played my soccer, a very sporty person. And I was primary school, high school, didn't really think about boxing or anything until my brother actually started MMA. So he kind of introduced the family to everything. And the way we got there was, we got bullied, the whole life experience. When you're young, you still have your baby fat and, you have your bullies and that. And I guess it kind of started with my brother. And I think he was 16 the first time he started. So he started his MMA journey there, and he introduced it to the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and that's your older brother, Jesse, yeah?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Nice. Who we'll chat to in a little bit.
Yes, soon.
Okay. So, all right. So you started, and then Jesse sort of led the family in terms of the combat sports. And then what happened from there? So you decided to go into boxing specifically.
Yeah. So actually, I got, I played all the team sports. I went provincials, but then politics in sports it's a very big problem, and I think everyone knows that. Mm-hmm. So, I had my provincials for rugby, I had my provincials for cricket, but politics took over, and I got tired of the team sports. I'm very talented, and I'm sure a lot of people will back that. I am a very talented person. I put the hard work in. And eventually, after doing the whole team sports, my brother said to me, come do an individual sports for once. Try do something by yourself, and let's see how you go. And I agreed with him. I said, okay, let's do it. Let's take the challenge. Let's go individually. Even though, you have a team that coaches you, it's still you just alone in the ring. There's no one else with you.
Yeah.
So we did it, and we are, where we are today. So, it's a big change.
There's something, I work with a lot of golfers, there's something that's different about individual sports to team sports.
Yes.
It's so much harder from a discipline standpoint to get the most out of yourself and to reach your potential as an individual athlete.
Yes.
Because there's nobody else holding you to account. You might have your coach and you might have a couple of mates, but first of all, you're not getting paid a salary by a team or a union to perform and to show up every day. Nobody's going to shit on you if you if you don't rock up to practice, or if you don't go and do that run, or if you don't do your sparring session. It's totally 100% on you.
That's it. You can't blame anyone else. You cannot. if you don't go and do the hill sprints you need to do, if you're not putting in the runs that you need to do, you're going to lose. Your coach cannot step in the ring for you, put his hands up and fight for you. It's you, an individual person. Whether you make the weight, whether you don't make the weight, all the blame is on you. I cannot blame anyone else. I can't go and blame my coach, you didn't put the effort in.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all on me. If I never put the effort in to get where I need to be, then it's on me. And that's what I needed to experience. Because I could play a team sport and I knew I put the effort in, but I knew the person next to me wasn't on the same level as me.
Yeah.
And, it got to the point where I'd get so frustrated. I'd want to shout at the person, tell him how shit he is and why. Then I still make myself look like a bad person at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So now let me take myself out of that situation, put myself in an individual sport and see if it is actually me, myself, and take it from there.
Okay. So you obviously, at what point did you realize that boxing could be something that you could do professionally? So you take it for a bit of a spin, individual sport, and then there must have been a time when, okay, do you know what? I actually think I'm getting pretty good at this. I can make a career out of it.
So I actually did boxing to like the fitness part, the discipline part behind it. There's a lot to boxing than just fighting and what people think. So my dad taught me, coached me. I learned from my brother, and then I was 21. I was playing rugby for a club in Joburg called Eastland United, and I got a contract to the Sharks. And I was supposed to come up here, play rugby again, and ended up being a whole money situation. So my dad said to me, look, enough is enough. And my brother phoned me and said, look, come and fight. Like, you've been training it, you know what to do, let's actually pursue it. And I think at that time I was weighing about 115 kgs.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 115 kgs.
What do you weigh now?
Now I'm currently walking around at 86, but when I fight I dropped down to 79.
And what position were you playing in rugby?
I was playing 8, man.
So you're number 8 at 115.
Yes.
And you've worked your way down.
Yeah. So
that's intense.
Yeah, it took me quite a while. It took me 5 years to drop from 115 kgs. A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely left the rugby, started boxing, and at that time we started our own gym together. Okay. My brother was the owner, and I worked underneath him. And at that time, it was called Martial Fitness.
All right.
So we started. He started everything, and where he started was quite amazing. We actually started in my mom's house, in her back garden. My brother had 2 boxing bags. I remember clearly, 2 boxing bags that he hung up there. He had ropes with strings tied with tennis balls that he used to coach everyone with. And from there, he built himself into a gym, got his first gym, and then he told me, "Sweet, come on board, work with me. Let's start this together. Let's start our own journey together."
Love
so
that.
that was, for me, that was exciting, because we always, people always say never go into business with your family.
Mm-hmm.
And we've never worked with anyone else but each other. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you work with the right people in the family, it works. It 100% works. You just need to have that click. And normally brothers don't have that click, but we do. We're never in competition with each other. We have good laughs. We've had our fights when we were kids, normal kids fights and that, but I'd say no one can have the connection we have. I mean, you've got 2 brothers in 2 different fighting industries.
Yeah.
Who has that?
Yeah.
No one does.
Yeah, very seldom to have 2 brothers that are both professional sportsmen.
That's it.
Just that
That's
alone.
It.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned earlier about the possible misconceptions in the public and how they view or think about boxing.
Yes.
What would you say are some of those misconceptions that you've come across?
So the brutality behind boxing.
Yeah.
No, there is no brutality. There's 100%. It's protection. People see boxing as, you're a boxer, you beat your wife for a living, you all you want to do is fight. No. Spend a day with a fighter and actually chat to them, get to know them, not even a day. Spend time with a fighter, get to know them.
Yeah.
There's a lot more behind a fighter than just that aggression and fighting.
Okay.
We all have families. You know, we all have friends. There's a different side to how we take things. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, or with you. I feel safer in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Because that's my home. That's where I feel safe. When I'm walking around daily, I don't feel safe. But that's my type of mentality. Like, I've been built to fight in a boxing ring. I've felt it when before a fight even I get nervous and have my shakes, but that's because I'm not in the ring. But when I'm in the ring, that's all gone. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at home.
So tell me about the unique aspect of a contact sport like boxing, okay? Because there's definitely a different mental component to it. And
Yes.
I can speak personally from this because I've been training with you for a few months now after having never done any contact sport. I mean, I played rugby, but never anything to this extent. No MMA, no boxing, nothing. And there's definitely a different mental aspect to a sport like this
Yes.
than other sports. I think it's because you're stepping into a ring and you know for a fact that guy that's standing opposite you is potentially, well, he's going to try and hurt you. He's going to try and knock you out.
Yes.
So there's a different mental aspect to it. So speak about that mental preparation, how that's different in boxing compared to other sports.
Okay, so the mental preparation behind the fighting, it's very important. So boxers and MMA fighters, it's a very selfish sport. With regards even to family-wise, your mental game needs to be on point. You'll see a lot of fighters, what they tend to do is they'll actually leave their families. They'll go have their camp somewhere else.
I noticed that.
They leave their families alone. And you have to. It's just certain things, because we sacrifice so much. People need to understand that we sacrifice a lot. Boxing and MMA is not easy. It's not. We give up a lot. We build up such aggression because there's things that we sacrifice, there's things that we have to do in order to get to where we need to be. I mean, no one wants to leave their family alone. No one wants to.
No.
I mean, when you chat to my brother, best example, I've seen him go through probably the most intense weight cuts ever.
Yeah.
And I've seen him sacrifice a lot, where he's had to fly to Joburg to fight, and he's left his family, his future wife and his daughter. And I mean, they had to sit and watch him fight from home. There's a lot of sacrifices. I mean, me mentally, I've left my girlfriend where she is now, and I've had to prepare myself. I've slept on my brother's couch for a whole month preparing for a fight.
Okay.
I've done it. I've made the sacrifices.
Yeah.
I've slept on a couch a whole month on a couch, and I lived out of a suitcase. And that was when I moved up recently to Durban. So I had no one there. I had no girlfriend there, so I've made that sacrifice. I woke up every morning, 5 o'clock. I ate a bowl of wheat picks with 3 wheat picks in it, no sugar, nothing. I've cut everything out.
Yeah.
Drive to the gym, 45 minutes to the gym. I have my first session from 8 until 9 with my brother. Then I had my coach, Kaya, and then Clint from 12 until about 2 o'clock. I'm training again. And then from 4 until 5, I had another coach training me again. I'm driving home 6 o'clock, from 6 to 7 after I've done coaching people, teaching them how everything happens.
Yeah.
Getting home, sleeping again, 8 o'clock, repeats, wake up at 5 o'clock again, wheat picks. Then I must sit and I see everyone else having a nice pasta, all of this, the jealousy kicks in, and that's when the anger starts kicking in. That's where you need to mentally say to yourself, it's only just for now. The reward will come.
Yeah. But this is what I find so interesting about boxing, and I think it's similar with MMA, is when you in a sport like playing golf, for example, you know that the tournament is going to be on such and such a date. You're practicing, you're playing, you've got those tournaments. You know it's not going to just not happen, a week before.
That's it.
Whereas with these types of sport, it's very different. So you make these sacrifices at the same time knowing that there's quite a high likelihood that fight might not even happen a week, 2 weeks before. And just all of that work, just like that, gone. that must also force you to be so much more disciplined, because you've got to practice, you've got to train, you've got to eat like the fight is guaranteed and is definitely going to happen, knowing that at the same time it also might not.
That's it. So my first ever fight, my first ever professional fight, I trained for 9 months before I had it, and I had 4 fights pulled down before that. So for 9 months, I maintained my weight. I walked around at 79 kgs, which is, it's not good, but it's good.
Yeah.
And the only reason I did that was because I didn't know when the fight was going to happen.
Yeah.
I had a guy pull out a week before the fight. I had to carry on training because apparently there was another guy. Had a guy pull out a week before the fight again. Had a guy pull out 2 weeks before the event. And then finally, in December, I had my first professional fight. So it took me 9 months of hard preparation to eventually have my first fight.
Yeah, that's a different level of discipline. Hey?
Yeah.
It's something I've noticed as well, paying attention to what goes on at Domination. There's a different level of discipline compared to what I've seen in other sports. For that reason, you're not sure when that fight is even coming around. So you've got to train knowing that you don't have a fight yet, but it is going to happen at some stage, and you've got to just make sure that you're in reasonable shape to give yourself the time where you get that call and then off you go in 6 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, whenever it is.
Yeah, that's it. I think once you start at a gym, let me put it to you, once you start at a boxing gym, because everyone thinks boxing's easy. 100%, everyone thinks, okay, cool, you can put gloves on, you come hit a bag, and it's that easy. No. Come and learn. Come and actually learn the science behind boxing and MMA. Stand in front of a bag, hit a bag for at least a minute, and I promise you now it won't last. You need to train.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to boxing and MMA than what everyone expects. I mean, yeah, you can go into a street and just hit somebody. Come into a ring where it's a square or an octagon, Can you actually stand and fight? Do you have the skill to move your head? Do you have the ability to move, the longevity to carry on, the stamina, everything? Do you train? Do you put that effort in?
Yeah.
You can be the best example. You come to, like you said, you come to Domination. You see how many people come there, how the people actually put the effort in. You yourself, you know how hard the sessions are.
Yeah.
I've seen you. You've said to me your arms just to stand and hit. You've seen how people struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I said to you is let me put it to you. How do you know your own feet? That's what I said to you, I think.
Yes, yeah.
How good are you in your own feet? And you said to me, no, we're good, we know our own feet. And then I asked you, okay, so if you move to the left, which foot would you use first?
Yeah.
And then you looked at me and I said, okay, so how well do you know your feet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Best example.
There's a lot.
There is a lot.
Coordination, separating the work from the lower body to the upper body.
That's it.
Coordinating the two.
That's it. And then
at high speed.
Then I had to introduce golf as an example.
Yeah.
Hips for twisting, to throw your hooks, everything. No, boxing and MMA, it's a different thing.
But that's a good segue into my next question, which is that you train, you're a professional athlete, but at the same time you also coach and you teach.
Yes.
And you get good athletes that are not good teachers, and then you get good athletes that also are blessed to be good teachers as well and can impart that knowledge effectively on other people. You're 100%. I teach people in fitness, so I know what a good teacher looks like. You are a good boxer and a good teacher at the same time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, pleasure. So my question is, what have you learned about yourself and your skill set from teaching other people? Because often I learn a lot by teaching others. Have you learned anything since you've started teaching, and how that's maybe changed your own approach to boxing?
Yeah, 100%. So a lot of people don't know, I suffer with ADHD.
Okay.
So I do tend to have a short temper. I had a very short temper when I was a kid. Little things used to tick me off, and I used to be very aggressive. And ever since I've actually got into boxing, I've learned how to control that completely. people see, okay, a boy who has ADHD is very active, he's going to bounce, he's going to be too hyperactive, know how to control his energy and all of that. 100% put your son into boxing or MMA. It is the best thing ever. It's the most amazing thing. It's taught me how to control. You know, I've never been able to deal with other people, and boxing has taught me that. I've dealt with kids who suffer with disabilities. I actually, when I was in Joburg and my brother moved up here, for a whole year, I taught a girl by the name of Ava, who suffered with autism, and probably the best experience of my life. I'll do it. I love teaching people who suffer with a disability. I will teach any kid who suffers with a disability because I enjoy it. That to me, that kind of opened my eyes to, you know, I can teach.
Yeah.
And boxing is what taught me that. It's taken every type of aggression that I've ever had and it's moved it away. I don't want to shout at people. I don't want to be cross with people because I want to teach. I want to show them what I have. And I never thought I had that until I went to boxing.
Yeah.
And when I taught that girl for the first time, I mean, she can throw a left hook. She can, you know, they suffer. They don't understand. They struggle. I mean, the first thing she ever said to me was, where's your car? You know, she couldn't speak to me at all. And then she started certain words, where's your car? Where did you park? We parked next to you. Then whose car is better, mine or my dad's? And then I'd say, no, your dad's. And then just say, no, yours. So she only said certain words to me. And, you know, just see that development. And then I got to a point where I started teaching her so well, her parents even took her out of the school that she was at and put her in a better school.
Jeez.
So to see that type of development, I was like, you know, this is where I need to be. I can't be in a desk. I can't sit behind a desk and waste what God's given me to give to everyone else.
Yeah. I find that so interesting that here's a guy who, in your instance, when he was a youngster, had a short fuse, temper, and then you would think logically, the perception is that, okay, you teach that guy and you give him the skills on how to fight and how to box. Now you're going to create this monster,
yes,
you know, because
yes.
now he's going to go out and he's going to flip and just punch every oak in the street.
That's it.
When actual fact, it is the opposite. You know, you're teaching somebody discipline, control, how to harness their emotions, rather than now you're creating this oak who's just going to go out and just punch everybody that is the moment he gets angry. So I love that you're an example of what a martial art or a contact sport can do and the benefit that it can have to somebody's mental well-being.
Thank you. Nice.
So tell me, Ty, take me through the beginning of the boxing industry to then, let's say, where somebody's going to watch you at the MGM in Las Vegas. So talk me through how a boxer would go about making his steps up the ladder.
Okay, so I kind of skipped a step, but I'll take you back to how it should have started.
Okay.
So a lot of kids start at a young age, you know, 9 years old, 8 years old, around there. They build their boxing and then they get amateur fights. So kids that are fighting at such a young age, you know, 16, 17 years old, going into the professional career, they having amateur fights of about 30, 40, 50. And very good amateur fights. I mean, guys that are walking out with 30-0 records. I mean, 42 fights with 1 loss. Very good. Going to the Olympics, all of that. So that's where your amateur careers start. A lot of them go to the Olympics. A lot of them have, you know, experience. From there, they start off with 4-round fights. Okay, that's your pro debut fights, 4-round fights, and that basically you're just looking at building your background, getting the experience in the rings, you know, building a very good record. Once you build your 4-round fights, you build your record, then you test waters, you go to 6 rounds. After your 6 rounds, 8, 10, and then 12. So when you're looking at your 10 to 12 round fights, you're looking at your MGMA fights, your big title shots, your WBC belts. So, it takes you quite a while to get there, something that you cannot rush. So the part that I skipped was I have no amateur background. And there's only 2 people in South Africa that do not have amateur backgrounds. And that would be me and Kevin Lorena, who is currently the WBC champion.
Oh, really? Yeah?
Yes.
I didn't know that about him.
Yes.
Sure.
Kevin Lorena has no amateur background.
And you ranked second in your weight division in the country, right?
Yeah, I'm currently ranked second in South Africa for light heavyweights.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you spoke about amassing those fights, getting to a record, giving yourself some clout to then punch higher up the ladder. How many fights is a boxer looking at fighting in a year?
Well, depending on how the fights actually go, how you do in the fights, you can have, I'd say, 6-7 fights, if it's possible, depending on how your body feels, how long those fights go in. Also, based on promotions, how those people want you to fight in the events, how well your name is out there, exactly like you said, the clout, how you get yourself out there. So I know so I've had 3 fights. I've won 2, lost 1. And my third fight that I won now, my second fight that I won, I knocked the guy out in the second round. And that got me a lot of exposure. And just because of that, people wanted me to fight the month after that. So I fought in, I think it was October I fought. August, sorry. It's been a while. So I fought in August, and they wanted me to fight the month after that, and I said no. Then they said, okay, no problem. Can you fight the month after that? And I said no to them as well.
So who's they? Just for the listeners.
These are different promotions that want you to fight.
Okay.
So there's been certain people that I've tried to call out to fight, and they've rejected the call outs, and then other promotions then get involved. And in order for those promotions, to make money, to get the exposure, they use the fighters. And that's where I get to the point where fighters aren't well looked after in the boxing industry or the MMA industry. We are very, very, very under-recognized by the people. No one looks after us. And it's not nice. It's not nice here in South Africa that, the boxers, we don't get recognized for the things that we do. We take a lot of damage, but we also fight for our country,
Yeah.
We in that ring, we represent South Africa, and we need the recognition that we deserve.
Yeah.
Yes.
How does it differ compared to other countries? Do other countries look after their boxers and their fighters better?
Yeah, if you look overseas, your fighters are very well looked after. I mean, the types of training they get, the types of, I'd say this, even the sponsorship, the help that they get within the communities. Okay. They get it. It's your fighters get the help from communities. I mean, if you take, for example, let's see, a good fighter, Canelo Alvarez. I mean, very well looked after in Mexico. He actually is the best fighter in the world. I don't care who says what. Canelo Alvarez is the best fighter. Pound for pound. Pound for pound, the greatest fighter ever. Tyson Fury, take him away. Just because he's a very arrogant person.
Yeah.
His ego is too big for him. Canelo Alvarez, yes. I'll go on my hands and my knees for that guy and tell him straight, you are the pound for pound. And doesn't walk around with an ego, doesn't walk around with an attitude, humble, He can, if he wanted to, he can walk around with an ego because he knows he can, but he's humble.
Yeah.
He's very humble. And if you look at the way they looked after over there compared to the way your boxers are looked after here, it's not the same.
Like chalk and cheese.
Yeah. Chalk and cheese, you can say it again.
So this is very interesting. I've been wanting to ask this question. So you, from boxing background. Jesse's mixed martial arts.
Yes.
You're seeing a lot of these crossover fights start to happen now. The most recent one, obviously, Ngannou and Fury.
Yes.
Do you think that there's a future there with those crossover fights? And generally speaking, in your opinion, can somebody from MMA come across and upset the apple cart in a boxing ring?
But yes. And it's happened. But you can see the politics in boxing as well.
Yeah. How so?
Tyson Fury definitely lost that fight. And Francis Ngannou, he's a champ. He beat the best heavyweight in the world, and in my opinion, Francis Ngannou is number one in the world. He is the best boxer in the world.
In his weight category?
In his weight category, out of all of them, in my opinion, it should be Francis Ngannou versus Usyk for the world heavyweight champion now.
But it's too much of an upset.
Yeah, big politics, massive politics.
You've got this guy who's, you start to protect and preserve that record. What is he? He was 37, something like that.
Yes.
Fury.
And I mean, so much talk about him and Usyk fighting for the world title. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If you put all the buttons together, everyone knows Francis Ngannou won that whole thing, especially because he got the knockdown.
Yes.
That knockdown made a big difference. And if you see all the big talk, you have an MMA fighter coming into a boxing ring, MMA fighter knocking down a boxer, the world heavyweight title holder, WBC this, WBC that, fighting Usyk for this and that. They're not going to let it happen.
No.
And you could see it was coming. So there's a lot of talks that happened.
So he would have had to have knocked him out, KO, for him to win that fight.
Yes.
Essentially, it was just duck or no dinner.
Yes, and any boxer will tell you that. Any boxer will tell you now that Francis Ngannou won that fight. Even an MMA fighter, I can promise you, if you have to go read all the comments.
What about these exhibition fights that are happening? That boxing's on the up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's globally. I've done my research and prep for this, and boxing is definitely starting to gain again in popularity, where it started to hit a bit of a dip.
Yeah.
Like post Tyson and those big heavyweights, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, and that it started to go down, but now it's on the way back up again. You've got these exhibition fights, YouTubers like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, that other bloke, KSI, Tommy Fury, getting in the mix, making massive ammo for these exhibition fights. How do you feel about that as a legitimate professional boxer? Not to discredit them in any way, because they obviously can box, right?
100%.
But yeah, well, how do you feel about these exhibition fights that are making so much money?
Now I've big credit. Mm-hmm. They've built the boxing industry back up to where it needs to be.
Okay.
It was dying, and the YouTubers needed to do what they needed to do to get it back up there, and the boxing industry needed it as well. And I understand where boxers say they feel like they're being judged or anything, or like they're not getting the credit they do because YouTubers are walking in after having no amateurs, nothing, having pro fights straight away. 100%. I can see with the part where they get upset, but they built the boxing industry back up to where it needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's business at the end of the day.
It's always business.
Always business. I mean, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, KSR, they created that whole Misfits promotion. One of the biggest promotions at the moment in DAZN.
Yeah.
So what are people actually complaining about?
I think and I'll use the word legitimate boxer, that it can only benefit them.
That's it.
Because if you get an opportunity to fight a guy like that, if you truly believe that these guys are willy-nilly and they're not proper boxers, then you should theoretically go there and just knock the oak out. Also at the same time collect a massive payout because of the amount of people that have watched on pay-per-view, because of their marketing and the brand that they bring to the sport.
Yeah, go fight on that promotion. They've created that platform for you, Message, Ask for a fight on the promotion. Make your money from that promotion. That is why it's there. Don't complain. Don't complain about the promotions. There's multiple promotions that are happening. Everyone knows that promotions also don't look after their fighters. They're all there for the money. But fight in that promotion and then make your money. Don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe some of the fights are rigged. Everyone knows that there's politics. There has to be always politics in some type of sport. I mean, I've witnessed it myself the other night at Emperor's Palace, and I'll say it. They can hate on me, I don't mind. When they send me the contract to fight Michael Head, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
But I won't take the fight at Emperor's Palace because I saw the politics that happened.
Really?
Yes.
Is that across the country, or is that specific to Emperor's Palace, would you say?
I'd say that's specific to Emperor's Palace. Specific there, because I saw a fight last weekend between a guy by the name of Bongi Nkosi and Michael Head. They had their fight, and I watched Bongi Nkosi beat Michael Head completely. Every single round. First round, second round, third round, fourth round. And I could not believe what I heard. It was shocking. Especially after the second round, where I heard the judges speaking about the fight being a draw. A draw after Michael Head did not land a single punch on Bongi. I watched Michael's head bounce back and forth. And what I heard, what I saw was horrific.
Yeah.
And just there I could see the politics.
So, chatting about fighting, when is your next fight? What have you got on the horizon?
So, I've taken the rest of the year off. I mean, last year I fought in December. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't a nice one, you know. Everyone wants to have their Decembers off. They want to relax as well after a long year of training, after hard work. So, I've taken this December off, and I look at fighting again in March.
Okay.
So it's 4 months of preparation. It's not like because I'm taking December off doesn't mean I'm going to go eat and, you know, go and get fat and all of this. It just means I need to have a little bit of a rest, take my mind away from fighting, you know, have a bit of family time. I need to have a holiday. Everyone has to have a holiday.
100%.
Everyone needs to relax, you know, de-stress. So I need to have a holiday this December. And yeah, March, when the promotions open up again, after I've renewed my license in Feb, March we'll take it on again.
Nice, bro.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure having you on, Ty. Thank you.
Thank you very
I've learned a lot about the boxing industry, and I continue to learn a lot from you when I come to Domination.
Yes.
So,
thank you so much.
Thanks so much for being here. Let's get your butt in.
Perfect.
Wait. Before you go. Did you enjoy that episode as much as I did hosting it? Please go on to Apple Podcasts or to Spotify, rate the show, follow the show, subscribe to the show, leave a comment and a review. Every little bit helps. The more reviews that the show gets, the more traction it's going to get, which means that the guests get better and better, the value gets better and better, and then we can continue to grow together and be better as a community. Thank you very much. Have a great day.